Hello again. So this is going to be a quick analysis of my games versus Quaid in the West Coast Qualifier earlier this year and a quick update on what's going on with this channel. So I recently attended the Classic Tetris World Championships 2019. I had a phenomenal time, and my original plan was just to do a straight vlog of this year and make it much easier to edit and get up quickly, since one of the reasons the 2018 video took so long was that I didn't actually film very much footage when I was at the convention itself. So in order to tell the whole story, it became this whole production, and I was doing all these animations to fill in the gaps. But it turns out that people seem to like the whole production and animations and everything. So I'm gonna do the same for the 2019 video. Unfortunately, that means it's gonna take a long time. After outlining everything I want to do with the video, it's probably gonna take at least 2 more months minimum. But I also said in my 2018 recap that I was gonna try and do weekly videos on this channel, and I'm already pretty behind on that. It's been 3 weeks since my last upload. So I've been working on a ton of videos on specific topics to get up in the meantime. But today I wanted to do something that I've really enjoyed seeing Jonas, Corion, and Green Tea and many others doing, which is analyzing games that they played at the tournaments and giving insight into what they were thinking at the time. Now, I'm nowhere near on the level of Jonas, Corion, or Green Tea, obviously. So unfortunately, you won't be getting maybe world-class Tetris master insight in this video. What I'm hoping to deliver in this video is insight into what it's like as a mediocre Tetris player to suddenly go for the first time on the main stage in front of a large audience. So let's take a look. So I was the 7th seed. I was faced up against Quaid. I was very happy to just be in the bracket. I was not expecting to get in. I had gotten my 2nd highest score ever in the qualifiers at that time, and I was stoked just to be here. And I was talking to some other people. I was like, "What? Yo, I'm facing up against Quaid. Do you have any advice?" And someone said, "Talk a lot of crap." Which is, Quaid is kind of known as being kind of like the unpredictable personality of the tournament. There was a little documentary done on him back in 2015, the year he made the finals, where it kind of gives insight into just the nature at which he approaches the tournament.
We're here to watch me lose at Tetris. Yeah, I'm not drunk yet, and it's like 1 o'clock. They're both wearing flannel. Way to coordinate, Jonas! Anytime I can beat a man wearing a hand accessory, I feel really good.
But no, there was no crap talk beforehand. We were both up there, so to set the perspective, I had played in, I think, 1 or 2 Classic Tetris monthlies at the time, but that's, you know, you're in your home, you're by yourself. The only audience that you see is just a number on how many people are watching the Twitch live stream. This, I was going up on a main stage, and it wasn't even like a lot of the Classic Tetris World Championship matches where you've got 2 different matches going on at once, so you're just one of 4 players up there. No, the entire focus was just on the 2 of us. I was playing against one of my favorite players with, you know, Jonas and Heather commentating, Vince and Adam behind us reffing, and so many people of the community sitting in the audience. It was overwhelming. So my strategy going in is just basically, I don't want to embarrass myself. And specifically, I don't want to have a top out before getting 1 Tetris. So my immediate focus was just get 1 Tetris. All right, so let's see. This is already kind of a jagged board. I was already shaking my head. I wasn't liking it. I was going to have to do some delayed burns.
Sometimes you get the clean openers with 3 Tetrises in a row. Sometimes you get what we're looking at.
And Jonas
here.
acknowledged that in the commentary. But I was keeping it low. I was keeping it clean. I just saw that, like, I got a 23-piece long bar drought, and then I get my first Tetris. I immediately have a sigh of relief. And at this point, I had just been focusing on the Tetris game. I had achieved my goal. I got 1 Tetris before an early top out. And so at this point, I was trying to just kind of take it all in, because there was the crowd noises, there was the commentary, there was, you know, the player next to me, Quaid. At this point, I kind of mentally expanded outward to try and take in the moment. And unfortunately, that was to my detriment, because, all right, so these are pretty normal moves. I'm getting Tetris ready. Put the long bar over to the left. That was a panic move. What happened there? Okay, so in this situation, I just made a blunder. There's obviously an obvious setup to get Tetris ready, which would be to put the piece right here. I don't think I wanted to do that because I was trying to play flatter. I didn't want to create this jagged board, but honestly, I mean, and a more experienced player would obviously see this move or make the adjustment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I immediately didn't like that. And I think as a result of that, then I misdropped the line piece, and then it just snowballs from there. And then I'm really recognizing that there's problems with this board now because I've now misdropped 2 pieces in a row. This is not terribly difficult to get something over, but it's starting to fall apart. So that's not a problem, but then this is not great because now you have a dependency over here, you have a long bar dependency over here, you know, things are just snowballing. And then now I almost misdropped that square. I'm really not being able to come up with good moves on the spot. So that was another error. I think because I was worried about having DAS out of panic or I don't know what. The obvious spot for this piece is right here. Of course. I end up putting it here instead because I think I'm trying to set up, you know, delayed burns, just panic, maybe trying to get DAS fully loaded. And then the next move is where it all fell apart. So at this point, the line piece is trying to go right here, of course. But I'm waiting a very long time to spin it, way longer than I should have, because I don't want the long bar to get caught in a position like right here and then stick on that jaggedness. But the problem I ran into with waiting so long to spin the long bar is that when the long bar spins in this position, it defaults to spinning into this position instead of spinning into this position. I'm not sure if it's because I missed the skill stop or because of the long bar spin. I mean, especially it was waiting way too long to flip the long bar because then this happens and that's the end. That's where my face, that is now my Twitch emote, has come from. At this point, okay, so what can I do? I do have potentially a bit of hope. I don't know if this piece gets over even with fully charged DAS, but I need as close to fully charged DAS as possible. The situation here is, you know, make sure I have fully charged DAS with this piece, place it right here, flat, and then I put this L over there. But I can't even do that because I have an early DAS load and then I can't do anything. I have to dead drop this L to try and get DAS back. So I get DAS back with these pieces, but at this point the board is just completely destroyed. Like, it's going to be incredibly difficult to burn out of this. Even if I get this T piece over, it's only going to burn one line in this situation. It's just gonna burn that. But I have to at least give it a shot, and it doesn't make it, and that's the end. So that was my first game on stage. I was only ahead very briefly for like one Tetris. Tetris rate of 28%. Could be better, it could be better. But at this point, what I wanted to do was focus on every single move and not have any misdrops on the next game. I needed to not try and focus on the crowd, I just needed to focus on my own game. So we've started game 2. I should mention that we're not getting the same RNG, so anything can happen. I'm very focused in this game on, I want to at least make it a close game. I want to put up a respectable score. I know pretty much my only chance to beat Quaid in a match is that he makes some big colossal mistake and I survive and I'm able to either chase down his score or win because I've survived. So my priority in this game is to focus very, very hard on no misdrops and surviving. So immediately I'm a bit worried here, I think, because I'm having to do some delay birds, but I get a Tetris.
Last year, this was kind of the corner of the expo. We really got primetime seating here, so
I'm very happy with these early setups for these boards. This is basically exactly the sort of board you want to have set up. Building out the left first, having a very, shallow, lots of room to burn and set up burns on the right, and your Tetris ready. So this is basically the perfect board.
It's different playing on such a big stage. I mean, we're commentating over the whole...
And then one of the things I really tried to focus on, because I had mentioned it in the Classic Tetris World Championships Explained video that I had recently put up before competing here, is the double wide well on the right. The double wide well on the right is really great because you can burn so much stuff cleanly. You can burn cleanly with an L that takes out this row and you're still clean. You can burn that way, you can burn with a T. There's lots of options. So in this situation, I get the Tetris. I'm happy I burn with that T right there. This is a little bit of a jagged board. but I get the square to fill up the spot. I take a double there. I'm just trying to play safe. I'm nodding with every Tetris. Every Tetris is a victory at this point. And at this point, I'm actually staying within pace of Quaid. I'm only a single Tetris behind, and right there I take a brief lead. He takes it back.
Back and forth trading Tetris.
So
This is Tetris tennis.
I'm hanging in. I'm really happy at this point. I don't think I'm quite aware of the score. But okay, so this is where I start to fall behind pace. So in this situation, the obvious flat move of a delayed burn doesn't work with the L here because then you'd leave this jagged spot. I mean, the smart option, especially when considering that this line piece is coming to make an adjustment, is to place it right here. I think the reason that I did not set this up was because this is not an ideal board shape, because then you have to build up this side perfectly before you can burn on this side. And that can get dangerous if, you know, I didn't get a T or a Z to put over here. So taking a delayed burn double that could lead to another line was not a terrible move here, but it sucks because the line piece came the next piece. And I immediately knew that I had passed up on a Tetris there because I shook my head. And now this is a bad situation because I've now set up a long bar dependency right here. But I feel like I was able to make a really good move here with the L. This L going right here does so many things. Not only does it take a lot of this down, it takes these two lines out, so it helps lower down this stack because this stack is a mess right now. It also gets rid of a long bar dependency without using a long bar. That's basically the best you can hope for in this situation.
L there. I love his use of the red L to become less line dependent. People always ask.
So then I shake my head because I just set up another long bar dependency, but I'm happy to get the Tetris. I got this double wide well. I wonder what I'm going to put there. Oh, I get a long bar. That's perfect. That's the perfect piece to set up over there because then you don't have to burn any lines at all.
We're starting to see a center well develop.
So I just screen looked there. I'm only a Tetris behind still.
The viewers lean in a little
39 lines in.
They want it. They need it. They got it. Boom, Tetris for Quaid.
I probably should have put that long bar over here to get Tetris ready. But again, I'm trying to set up these double wide well situations just to be safe. I couldn't quite decide what to do there, so let's see what I was thinking. I think I was caught in between trying to do this, which would not really be a good move because then you have to fill up this whole section perfectly before you can set up, you know, this and, you know, delayed burns over here. Yeah, it was just a little bit of indecision, and then I got the right piece to get out of it. So this is not a great board. A little bit of jaggedness, got that L dependency, but got the L.
David's getting droughted a little bit, but I saw a great piece.
So I think that was a little bit of a drought. Managed to get some delayed burns and be ready for the Tetris. Again, costing me some lines, but I'm still alive. And against an opponent that's far better than you, that's the best you can hope for in this situation, being within striking distance. I'm not happy there because I didn't get the delayed burn in time to be open again for Tetris ready. I'm happy to get the Tetris. Every single Tetris is a victory to me at this point.
Coming from Quaid right now.
I'm just so worried that I'm going to screw up. Okay, so everything's working out okay. These are not really the best board setups, but... Okay, so at this point, I'm shaking my head because I heard something in the commentary.
Opens the lead to 85,000 points. I want to say the largest lead of this matchup.
I actually slightly misheard this when she said it initially. I immediately was thinking of the moment where the commentator during Trey's game with Corion several years ago said, "This is the largest lead I think we've seen in the entire tournament so far." And then Trey has this hilarious reaction.
Boom, Tetris for Corion. This is probably one of the biggest deficits we've ever seen in the history of this tournament. It's almost 300,000 points.
So I think I was trying to emulate that. But then I realized afterwards when watching the VOD, it was like, oh, she only said that this was the largest lead of this game so far. And yeah, 84,000 points. It's a lead, but it's not an astronomical lead. I mean, it's probably an astronomical lead for Quaid against me since I'm the lesser skilled player, but, you know, that was what I was thinking at the time.
But David closing the gap.
But I got a Tetris.
My goodness. It's Tetris time.
Efficient Tetrising from both players.
So this is, again, not really a great situation because I was long bar dependent, but I was able to set up the delayed burn there. And that was not a great move. So I was really trying to get those double wide wells open. I originally had the right move to put it here to get Tetris ready. I'm prioritizing setting up this double wide well here where I can burn if I need to. But the problem is then I need another piece to get Tetris ready. And I don't get Tetris ready in time. So I make that adjustment. And then I just take the triple because the board's getting real jagged. I don't really like it, but that costs me a lot of pace.
We'll just build it here.
We'll just build it here. This is fine.
Okay, so I'm doing all right. Setting up that double wide well again. This is a tough situation to deal with because neither situation for this Z right here is ideal, because either I have to set it up here, which sets up a long bar dependency, that's bad, or I could set it up like this, but that creates a tucking situation and it makes this board, like, it makes the board very risky to snowball out of control. And I'm trying not to set up tucks just because if you mess up a tuck, it can really mess up your board. So the safest place is to put it right here and set up, you know, a delayed burn with two of these pieces. The problem is then, you know, you have to do at least 2 delayed burns before you can get Tetris ready and open up your well again. And then the problem is that this board is still not accommodating for another one of these blue Z's, so I have to place it here again. Now I have 4 lines I have to burn before I can get clear and get Tetris ready again. And then my board is still not accommodating, so I now have to burn 6 lines. So this is just destroying the pace. I'm just shaking my head. Oh my gosh. And then I very closely, I almost misdropped right there. I don't think I had any misdrops in this game until the end, which I'm very happy with.
Finally, with a line, boom, Tetris for
But in the meantime, Quaid is, of course, continuing to build up his lead. He's up to 100,000.
That bottom square, and then build a Tetris in it.
So I managed to finally get clean, but I'm still not Tetris ready.
And not a moment too soon because he is down by 105,000 points.
Yeah, and Jonas just mentioned I'm down by 105,000 points. Got a Tetris. But now Quaid is in trouble over here. Let's see what happened to Quaid. So let's look at Quaid. So Quaid was doing fine for so long.
Not a moment too soon because he is down by 105,000 points.
Okay, this is all fine. Okay, so there's not a great place for this Z. So he places it right there, but now this is a pretty uncomfortable board. Now this board is getting really uncomfortable because I don't think he has DAS properly loaded to get this L over here. So he sets up the delayed burn there, but now for that S. Did I just call a bunch of S's Z's? Wow. Gosh darn it, now I feel dumb. So now Quaid has to do a bunch of delayed burns to even get close to getting out of this. And then something happens to Quaid. He's continuing to build high. He needs an LRJ or a line. He gets it. He's getting out of this. He's so close. And then he has an early dash load here. And he says, oh, you don't hear it very loudly over the microphones in the VOD because the microphones are very close to Jonas and Heather's voice. But he said this pretty loudly in real life, and I heard that. In a competitive match against somebody who's significantly better than you, hearing them yell out an expletive is probably the best thing you can hear because it means something has gone seriously wrong. And so at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I have a chance. I just need to stay clean. Quaid's really in trouble. He needed that L to get over. He's getting the right pieces, but he's also perfectly managing his DAS. He's perfectly managing the moves. So, you know, it's very easy to screw up a piece in this situation. So
oh my gosh,
you can kind
of
of tell he was grimacing at one point. But over on the left, it takes me a really long time to get Tetris ready because I'm having to do a bunch of burns. So then I finally get Tetris ready, but I can't use that long bar. I grimace. And there, I just heard that Quaid got out of it. He got a Tetris, and I'm like, gosh darn it. So with my next Tetris, I'm like, I'm getting a Tetris back. But then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to look too angry over this. It's just Tetris. So then I smile.
It's a 2 Tetris lead.
So I'm looking over, checking his score. I see that it's still close.
15 lines away.
But now I'm getting close to the transition. There's only a couple lines left. So I really need to get a couple Tetrises here because I can't score Tetrises very well after the transition. So this is the time where I have to play efficiently if I'm trying to win. And at this point, I've already made it this far. I've lasted a while. I have a chance to win, and I want to try and take it.
For years. Quaid.
Boom.
But this is where, okay, so what happened here? Because this kind of screwed up my stack before the transition. So I'm trying to play perfectly.
Ready for takeoff.
I got the double wide well going. I get the delayed burn. Okay, it probably would have been better to put this L right here because then now, oof, I don't feel confident in getting the dash over to here. This is the obvious place for this piece. So, but I should have taken a delayed burn right here. I don't think I wanted to take a delayed burn, but I should have because now there's no place for this Z. There's really no good spot for it. If I put the Z here, then I have a hole right here. So I have to, like if I put another L or something, then I'd have to clear out this and get this like already. And I'd have to clear out all this. Like it'd just be a huge mess. So at this point, I've kind of put myself in a very vulnerable position. And I'm just hoping that by just shoving some pieces over here, I'll get a long bar quickly. And I do. This is the most risky I've played in the entire match so far. But now the problem is, now I have to get clean before the transition.
Transition at 430,000 points for Quaid.
Unfortunately, I just set up 2 long bar dependencies, and the RNG worked out where I made kind of the wrong decision there, but you know, I was in a position where I could really make adjustments. And now I've hit the transition. I'm panicking a little bit because I have to do a couple delayed burns to get out of it, but I get clean. So now the situation is I'm down 55,000 points, at least 2 Tetrises. As you go higher in level 19, Tetrises are worth more. So towards the end of post-transition, this would be only about 1.5 Tetrises, but most of the time, I can only make it a few levels past the transition. It's hard for me to just survive for a long time, much less score Tetrises. So I really am just trying to survive and only set up Tetrises if the perfect pieces come. So unfortunately, I'm setting up line dependency there to get Tetris ready. At this point, I'm just so nervous. I want to take a triple. And in this situation, the best I can hope for is that Quaid screws up again and, you know, I can track down his score maybe. I'm not expecting to win at this point. I'm not expecting to have a chance because I feel like Quaid could have played safe and just, you know, gotten a Tetris here and there and coasted to victory. But the one advantage I did have is I don't think Quaid knew the skill level of me because I was a new player. So I feel like Quaid over here, Quaid is playing insanely aggressive. He's setting up these crazy, you know, delayed burns, these aggressive high center wells. Like now he needs a line or else he's kind of in trouble. But he's managing to dig out of it. And meanwhile over here, I'm just trying to survive. Like he's setting up these crazy dependent situations and I'm over here just trying to survive. Let's see. All right, I managed to get out of this. Here, I should have probably just burned the stack down, but I wanted to plug this long bar dependency, and this ended up, I mean, I was okay here, but now it's kind of the end because I want to keep this clean. I want to wait for a long bar, but it doesn't come, and now I've lost Das. I'm having to go over to hyper tapping, which I'm okay at hyper tapping, but I'm not the best. And now it's just falling apart for me. Now my board's super jagged. Oh my gosh, this is bad. So I don't have the tapping power to get this over. I'm not confident in it. So now this is a situation where the smart move would have been to put this J right here because this would have cleanly burned and left this column open. The problem is I was just in a panic at this point. This board is too high for me to comfortably play on, so I just take a panic burn. And I'm immediately thinking, all right, just burn down something easy, stick it right there. And then the problem is, because of the line clear animation, the timing's off, and I can't get the perfect timing to tap that T over. My timing is off, my tapping's just not fast enough, and at this point, it's over. Because I try to get DAS, but then I can't do it.
And it looks like
Just another drop for
couldn't
David.
tap it too fast.
So this graph afterwards, I was behind almost the entire game, only ahead for a very brief time at the beginning. But I managed to score a bunch of Tetrises and play past the transition. So, 419,000, that would have won some games. It wouldn't have won most games, especially if players knew that they could play safe versus me. But I managed to make it somewhat far. So that's my analysis of my games versus Quaid. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe got some sort of insight, probably not too much, but hopefully it was entertaining. I'll be having some more videos coming out soon. I'm really excited for the next one. I've already filmed a couple of things for it. So I'll see you then. Have a great day. I also wanted to give Green Tea, Corian, and Jonas another thank you for inspiring this style of video. I've linked all their original videos in the description if you'd like to check them out. Some of them are on Twitch, so I don't know how long they'll be online, but hopefully they'll be preserved in some form or fashion. Also, thanks to Quaid for being such a gracious opponent both before and after our matches. Alright, bye for real now.